What's going on, you guys? Today's video is titled, Your Fave is Problematic. And the reason why I'm titling this, Your Fave is Problematic, is because as of late, a lot of people, because of R. Kelly's situation, more and more allegations are coming out against him, and now more and more allegations, as well as video footage and documentation, is coming out against other entertainers and celebrities. And people are learning for themselves that guess what? Your favorite, your idol, your celebrity of choice is problematic. And a lot of people do not, will not, cannot handle it. Okay? And they don't know how to handle it. You know, they're going crazy. They can't believe that their celebrity of choice, their idol, their god, their fave is doing this shit. They can't deal with it. They don't understand. Oh my God. Not Drake, not Charlemagne the God, not R. Kelly, not Michael Jackson, not Jay-Z. You know, they just cannot deal with it, right? Not Mystical, you know. And trust me, and a lot of people are like, but what about the women? What about the women? Women do it too. This is true. Women do it too. But that is not an excuse to justify what men are doing. And I notice a lot of times when, you know, psych perspectives, when shit is going on with a dominant, privileged group, men, white folks, whatever, when shit is going on, the dominant group, when they start feeling attacked, and my thing is it being attacked, or is it the fact that they've never been held accountable for anything? Because that's what privilege does. You know, it really erases responsibility for the dominant group. But anytime they're feeling attacked, all of a sudden, here goes the but they do it too excuse. So here come the men. But women are out here molesting boys, raping boys, sexually assaulting men. You know, what about the priests? What about the priests of the Catholic Church? They're doing it to the little boys. And the thing is, women are not saying that women aren't predators. Women are not saying that boys aren't victims and being abused, and men aren't victims and being abused. We've been saying, hey, we've got a problem with sexual assault in this society, right? Women have been saying that. That's not new, you know? And I don't identify as a woman, but again, they've been saying that, you know? They've been saying that. That's nothing new. They've been saying, you know, this is a fucking problem and we need to do something about it. It's the men, it's the dominant group, unfortunately, who's been saying that anybody that comes out discussing abuse that they've been through, then they're automatically liars. And if a man does decide, or a young boy does decide to come out and address the abuse that they've been through, what happens? Other men come in and start calling him gay and questioning his sexuality and questioning his masculinity and saying that he's soft and he's weak and he's a punk. You know, that's what ends up happening. So again, check your dominant group, because your dominant group is the one causing a lot of the problems here. Now, women, you are not off the hook either, because again, your fave is problematic. Women, girls, but particularly women, adults, you are not off the hook either. And the reason why I say this is because I personally too was a victim of child molestation. But at the end of the day, it's the adults that failed the children, the youth. Like Hassan Campbell says, the youth. No, but really it's the adults around who failed us. Because at the end of the day, women, mothers, aunts, grandmothers, sisters, y'all sit up here and y'all put y'all children in harm's way. You will put your children in the devil's playground because you want them to have a father figure, because you're tired of carrying all of the burden, all of the responsibilities, all of the weight of raising a child is oftentimes put on the woman. We know that. And when we look at the Black community, we know that. When we look at people of color communities in general, Hispanic, Latinos, we know that, okay? When we look at the lower income communities, poverty communities, lower class, working class communities, We know that. Notice how I said or, because there's so many different demographics and populations of people where this seems to be the norm, or this seems to be what's going on, right? And mind you, when I'm saying this, I'm not trying to place blame. I'm not, trying to point the finger, but I'm trying to show all the sides as much as I can, because the goal of Psych Perspectives is really just to talk about these things in an open dialogue. And like I said, you don't have to agree with me. I don't have to agree with you, but we can try to respect each other. You feel where I'm going with this? So anyways, in these cases, particularly with R. Kelly, Foxy Brown's situation with Jay-Z, and the Charlemagne the God situation with Jessica Reed, and Michael Jackson and his situation in the mid-2000s and the early 90s, and then also Drake's situation from the video that's resurfacing from 2010. Once again, you have to ask yourself, where in the fuck are the parents? Where are the fathers? Where are the mothers? Where are the parental figures? Because in all the situations that I just named, the victim or victims were all underage. They were all underage. They were youth. They were young. They were kids. They were teenagers. None of them were of 18. None of them were 18 or older. Now in the states, like I said in my previous video, the states, they pick and choose what age of consent is by the state, which I really think after all of this shit that's going on with the priests, to the men, to the teachers sleeping with the young boys, because like I said, it had men and women all participate in this. We need to have a federal age of consent and mark it at 18 and call it a day. Because all this letting states pick and choose shit, that's why you could be 16 over here and really be a victim, but because of the age of consent, it's going to be marked down to statutory rape because you were consenting of age. See how backwards that shit is? And then it's not a flat description of what consent is. It's not a flat description of what adult is. So to me, as a country, the United States of America, the federal government needs to come out with an age of consent and mark it at 18, because this is ridiculous. We got all this picking and choosing shit. Okay, but back to the point. They're all underage. They're all under the age of 18. Every single victim. So you have to wonder, where are the parents when all this shit is going on? Going back to the Drake situation, that shit is on camera. That's on video. Just like R. Kelly pissing on the 14-year-old girl, that's on video. The girl in the video is 17 years old. So we're gonna look at all angles. I'm gonna try to look at all perspectives, right? Look at everything. This is what doesn't make sense to me. I didn't go to any concerts before when I was a child or a teenager. So I'm trying to figure out, 9 times out of 10, you need a parent or someone of age, an adult, to buy the ticket for the concert. And shouldn't an adult be accompanying you, or somebody of age be accompanying you, right? The parent, somebody had to know that their daughter was going to this concert. So off rip, right? But then on the flip side, at 17, I know when I was 17 what I was thinking. And I knew if I had the opportunity to sleep with Usher, I was with Usher at 17. But that's just me, again, we all individuals. But it can be argued that a lot of 17-year-olds kind of know what they want, what they like, what they don't want, what they don't like. So I can see that argument as well. And the fact that she knew going on stage for that particular slow song that Drake was singing in 2010, she knew what she was signing up for, right? So I can see that argument. I can also see Drake's argument in the sense that he didn't know that she was 17 years old. Because again, when you look at a lot of these people, you can't look at a person and judge and off rip know their age, And then in the black community, our little joke is what? Black don't crack. So honestly, you could be looking at somebody's grandmother and think that's somebody's sister or mother. But that's only one perspective. The other perspective is, even after she said, I'm 17 years old, or somebody said somebody yelled it or said it in the video, and you can hear it. He should have stopped then and there. Like, he should have been like, whoop, my bad, my mistake. Can you please escort her off the stage? Someone else in the audience, 18 or older, must have ID, something, you feel me, to come on stage. He could have easily exited that situation, but he did not do that. Instead, he proceeded to go on about how beautiful, how attractive she was, how sexy she was, and how he enjoyed her breasts, titties, her boobs. You a grown ass nigga talking like this, and you already found out that she's 17. So why, what are you doing? And this is, and mind you, this is not the only video or allegation of Drake, because last summer, 2018 summer, there was allegations of him grooming an underage girl. All right, go back to 2010 video. So you knew what you was doing. Now, what I'm gonna do to show all perspectives and to be as fair as possible. How old was Drake in 2018 or 2010, right? So let's do that. Drake would have been 23 for the majority of 2010 and would be turning 24 October 24th. Okay, he's a Scorpio, I'm a Libra, but both of our birthdays are in October, 9 days apart. Okay, Google. Okay. So with that being said, he was 23 talking to a 17-year-old. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, oh my God, that is fucking, oh my God, age. She's still, but you can also see where it's like, well, that's not that much of an age gap. And they're technically in the same generation because millennials is literally 1981 to 1996, I believe. 1981 to 1996. So technically, I was 17 in 2010, because again, I didn't turn 18 until October 15th, 2010. So we was both the same age. So technically, we all in the same generation. So you can see how these arguments of what is the age of consent, when does a person really know what's going on, what is too old and what is too young, and how big can a gap be? Because if we're gonna allow generations to be 15-year gaps, 1981 and 1996 for millennials, then technically that's, you can see how someone can say that's not really a problem with him doing what he did to her. And then the other argument that comes in oftentimes across the board, regardless of who the victim is they could have said stop, they could have left, they had a choice in this as well. Because again, the question is, well, if she was uncomfortable, or if he was uncomfortable, or if the person was uncomfortable, how come they didn't say anything? How come they didn't do anything? So you sitting up there on the stage, everybody trying to figure out why you still up on the stage, calm, cool, and collected. If you were so hurt and bothered by it, right? So that's gonna be the next thing. Now, I don't know if this girl was hurt and bothered, but I'm just saying, you see all these perspectives, right? Cheers. Like I said before, when you're doing these type of videos, you need something to cope with the sickness, all right? We go to Charlemagne the God and the Jessica Reed allegations. Once again, Charlemagne the God is not quite, he's not known to be a respectful person either, right? He's always talking shit about everybody. So, and I'm not saying to justify this, but I'm just saying, going forward, maybe we need to start looking at how we judge character, because you can see people and know from just by talking to people and being around people, and sometimes just by the energy, the vibe they give off, that they ain't shit and I don't want to associate with that person. So maybe we need to figure that out, because oftentimes too, when you look at these parents in these situations, it's piss poor judgment. Like, you just let your kid go with a child molester and a predator. You clearly are not paying attention to body language, to the signs, to what they're saying and doing. You also kind of whoop in the head. But anyway, he was 15. He lied and said he was 20 when he was really 22. There's a 7-year gap. Once again, more than likely in the same generation, because I'm gonna look up how old Charlemagne the God is. Well, I don't even have to look up to see how old he is, because the fact is, anyone from 81 to 96, you're a millennial. So I don't even, you feel me? But just to prove with this video, I just want to be as open as possible, because I don't want to have people thinking, well, you can't, blah, blah. You want to be able to show everything and bag what the fuck you saying up. He's 40 years old. So technically, Charlemagne the God, you're not a millennial. You're a Gen Xer. Born June 29th, 1978. He's in my mom's generation. Now that, both of them, no, he's a millennial, he's a Gen Xer, but he's a late Gen Xer because it's like 78. 81 is when millennials start, but still. And he was able to convince this girl's mom, that he was safe and he would take care of her and he would not let anything happen to her. So once again, women, and also not just women, but you get my point. And parents all are just as at fault as the perpetrator, because once again, piss poor judgment. Why would you let a 15-year-old go with a 20-year-old man? One's in high school in 10th grade. The other is a grown-ass adult. Put it like that. So again, you parents are just as at fault, okay, when it comes to your children being abused. I'm sorry. I blame, like in my personal situation, I was 8 years old. I blame my grandmother, my mother, my grandfather. I blame my uncle. I blame everybody on that, because at the end of the day, both of y'all, my abuser and the parental adults around me, failed me. And that's how I look at a lot of these cases. You fail these people. Because it's like, what the hell is really going on? Like, you just letting your kids go with any and everybody. You know, again, y'all don't judge character. Y'all don't. Anyways, so she went to a party, allegedly, with Charlemagne the God, and he made her drink alcohol and drugged her and took her upstairs, where he allegedly let his friends have sex with her first, and then he came in and had sex with her. And then while he was on top of her having sex with her, allegedly, he was telling her it's okay, it's gonna be all right. They're drugging and giving her alcohol at 15. And once again, these are allegations. There is a docu-series, or documentary on YouTube, about 45, 46 minutes long, about the Jessica Reed. And I'll leave that in the description box. And I'll leave a clip to Drake's video as well in the description box. And then the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Charlemagne the God is in the what? R. Kelly documentary series, Surviving R. Kelly. He in the documentary about how bad and horrible sexual abuse and assault is, and how horrible R. Kelly is, but then he allegedly doing the same shit that R. Kelly has done. But again, remember, we're gonna look at all sides. Charlemagne the God could have well changed his ways and repented and wants to do the right thing, because I do believe people can change, right? So maybe that's why he's in the documentary. Maybe that's why he's changing his outlook on women and girls and speaking up against sexual assault and abuse. Or just be playing into this, keep the light off of him, because people do that sick shit. Or money talks, you know, he's getting paid. Shit. Unfortunately, you know, I get why they say money is root of all evil, because people will sit up and do anything for some change, okay? Do something strange for a little piece of change, okay? But then again, this is the culture that we breed. Remember last year, we had elected officials on the Democratic side and the Republican side who were being accused of sexually assault, harassment, abuse, and then they knew they did it. So a lot of them, particularly the Democratic ones at least, stepped down, because how the fuck are you gonna be in the Democratic Party championing women's rights and gender equality and you know, all this other shit, and basically saying, hey, it's on us under Obama administration to prevent sexual assault and abuse and harassment, but then we got our own predators and abusers over here on the blue side. But my point is, we're seeing that across the board, whether you're white, black, Asian, Puerto Rican, I don't care if your booty hole stinking, my bad. We've all seen, regardless of ethnicity, race, class, sexual assault and harassment and abuse is rampant. On average, and I'm gonna leave links to these statistical findings in the description. On average, victims are women, perpetrators are men. But even in the cases when the victims are men, on average, the perpetrators are men. And yes, women are also predators. Yes, men and boys are also victims. So it's just, again, right? So this is happening. This is an epidemic. This is an epidemic where people, regardless of their age, their gender, their sexuality, their race, their class, are being abused, okay? So then get the priests. I'm gonna talk about the priests and Michael Jackson, okay? we get to the priests. And remember, we're looking at all angles here. And if I didn't add an angle in the comments so I can read up on it. We can talk about it. Okay? It's perspective, okay? So, okay, I'm sorry. I was looking at the lid. So, then you got the priests, men of the clergy, religious, the Catholic Church, the Roman Catholic Church, the Catholic Church, the Pope Benedict, Pope Benedict, okay? Okay, the holy of the holiest, right? Thought with it, okay? Thought with it. They have been covering up child molestation for centuries, right? Hundreds of years, thousands of years probably, but hundreds of years. And they're not the only religion doing it. Because I've noticed, I'm not gonna say the religion, but I've noticed that the people of the religion will do unholy, horrible things in the name of the religion, okay? And their average victim, when it comes to the priests molesting and raping, victims are boys, males, and the perpetrators are men. Again, us get upset, but again, on average, men are the ones doing the majority of the victimization, right? And even in the cases when the victim is a boy, abuser is also a man. So when we look at the priests, men raping and molesting boys, young men, males. And again, when I said earlier, you gotta have a judge of character, you can see why it's hard as well for people to have a good judge of character, because you're going to places like the church, to the priests, going to a religious guider, protector. They're supposed to have a certain esteem about them. I mean, they are giving us God's words, the deity's words. What in the world? You don't think in the house of the Lord, your children are going to be victimized and abused? You don't think that. You think they're going to be saved and protected and loved on and treated with dignity and respect because it's the house of the Lord. Also, a lot of predators and abusers, they go into these types of fields because they know people are not going to view them as a predator or abuser. The wolf can hide in sheep's clothing, okay? Okay, they can hide in plain sight because you thinking that that's a priest. Really, it's found a way to prey on people and to prey on the innocent, the children. Another situation with boys, school teachers, and with kids, and wolves in sheep's clothing. They just found a way to be around your kids, be around weak people and innocent. They're using their position, power, because teacher-student, automatically there's a power dynamic there. Teacher-parent, power dynamic there. Parent-student, power dynamic there. Pay attention. And their profession gives them a certain esteem because they're a teacher. So again, the school. You're not thinking that sending your children to a school where they're supposed to be at, they're going to be abused. That's not what you're thinking, and you're at least not thinking that the teacher is the principals. I know you're doing it. I'm gonna go even further. Since we look at everything, you're not thinking that a woman is gonna be out here being an abuser, molesting, raping, and sexually abusing and assaulting. You don't think a woman or a girl would do that. Because again, we've got these notions that that's not what women do, that's what men do, which is funny because who came up with that shit? Men. Again, you see how you end up falling prey to your own stereotyping, classification, your own closed-mindedness, and your own biases. You fall victim to your own shit. Now, you done painted this picture that women can't do this, and teachers would never, and priests would never, but not at church, but not at school. They are shooting and killing folks at churches and schools, and they are molesting, raping, and harassing folks, and assaulting folks at churches and schools. Reveal off your eyes is happening, okay? Okay, so you got young boys. They're teenagers, they're middle school teenagers. And you also have young girls who are also being hit on and assaulted and abused by the teachers. But this is where the dynamics are different. Because when it's boys, it's, oh man, shut up man, you got laid by the teacher, bro. You smashing the teacher, bro. How them cakes, bro? You the man, bro. When it's a girl, not going on average to their friends and saying, hey, I'm sleeping with our teacher. No, it's not you the girl. Oh my God, sis, you right. Like, it's not the same. Okay? But this isn't to say that there aren't situations where they are. And go to court, it's another dynamic. So now they're asking the boy, like, well, you had to have stepped it in before it took place. So they're asking him as in, well, you wanted this. You wanted this though. They're looking at the woman like, you know, you're sick and disgusted, but we don't necessarily want you to serve jail time. We want you to go to counseling and therapy. We might put you in a mental institution type shit. But when it's the guy teacher, it's different. It's you are sick and cruel. You are a rapist. You are this. You are that. And we want you to go to prison. We want you to serve time. We want you as a registered sex offender. And for the girl, she's the victim. She's seen as the victim when the guy is the teacher. It's like you took advantage of this young girl. You see where I'm going? Where the dynamics change. I feel where men and boys are coming from, but also you have to look at who's the wolf in plain sight. Because oftentimes it's other men who are telling you that you can't be victims and telling you that you are the predator and you're the problem. And then women follow suit and do the same shit. It's a horrible cycle. Okay? Jackson. I love Michael Jackson, the persona. Like him as a musician. For my previous video, can we split them up in half? At the end of the day, fuck all the music. What about these kids? What about these children? What about these victims? These people? There's a situation where the adults around them failed those kids. Because again, y'all letting y'all kids spend the night at grown man's house. And this nigga was in his 30s and 40s. Y'all knew that. Y'all kids be like. And Michael could well have had a cognitive tool and more than likely was abused as well. I think these people, it's a horrible cycle. Abusers abuse. Hurt people. And this is why we got to do something about this issue in our society ASAP. Because we're just going to continue on. And mental illness or not, you got to be held accountable. You sitting up here with these kids and you're a grown man. And even if you are saying that you're innocent, didn't happen. I do believe that the 2005 incident, he was innocent in. But the 1993 incident, I don't necessarily believe that he was cut and dry innocent on that. I'm just gonna be real, and I'm a fan of Michael Jackson's music. Be real. There's too many. If you innocent, you're not gonna do no behind the scenes shit. You're gonna have a full out trial, as we saw in 2005. He had a full out trial. Okay, because he knew he was innocent in that one. Going with it, he knew. 1993, he was like, have done some things, illness or not, cognitive issues or not. He knew he may have done some things. So that's why he was like, you know what, I'm gonna pay y'all to settle out of court $1 million settlement, hush money. We're not gonna take this to trial. At Johnny Cochran, he had a dream team. So think about that. He had a dream team. He had Johnny Cochran, as his lawyer probably told him, oh, you need to settle out of court because they got you. Okay? So think about it. This video getting super long, super long. The point is, look at all perspectives, look at all angles, okay? Agree to a disagree. Drop your perspectives in the comment box below because I'm serious. Think about this. Your fave is problematic. It doesn't matter if they're a celebrity. It doesn't matter if they're a teacher. It doesn't matter if they're, the best person in the community. Doesn't matter. They're humans and your fave is problematic. And another thing is this. Stop worshiping false idols. And you got to stop putting celebrities and these teachers and these priests and all these folks on higher pedestals. They are no holier than you. They are people. They are humans. So when you worship false idols and you damn near turn them into gods, This is why it's so hard for us to decipher between the music or the art or the talent or the profession and the actual evil deed and the thing that they did, because you're worshiping.